Post that I am currently live. Alrighty. Let's see here. Hello everyone, I'm Ray and we are streaming blacksmithing. So today we are going to continue on making our scrolling tongs. We've got a lovely pair of scroll tongs here that are already made. These were made by a buddy of mine when he was showing me how to make tongs for the first time. So this was like many years ago when I was a baby blacksmith. And it was kind of a hands-on demo. So I did do a pair of tongs myself, or like along with him as he made these. And the tongs that I made are these ugly things right here. And if you've been with me for a while, I have probably shown this set of tongs quite a few times. They look more like a shark than a pair of tongs. So I decided that I was going to make another pair of scroll tongs, and I was going to get a little bit of redemption and a little bit of a progress report, see how much I have learned from, you know, my beginner blacksmith days to now. So we have been working on a set of scroll tongs. So scroll tongs always come in pairs. So you need two halves. So right now, these are my two halves of scroll tongs. So, so we've got this side here. There's a little bit more extra work on this one done, and then there's this one. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to start kind of continue drawing out the reins on this side, so that the reins are equidistant. And then we're also going to finesse this guy. He's really kind of ugly and kind of fat for what I want for scroll tongs. So we're going to draw out both sides into much longer and prettier reins. Then from there, we're going to start working on the needle nose section of the tongs. Right now, they're kind of a cube, or like a cube pyramid shape. So we're going to round these out, because for scroll tongs, the purpose of them is to twist steel around in, you know, little scrolls and twists. So this is an example of what you can do with a set of scroll tongs. We made these with the set that my friend made me, and I'd like to make another one of these with my scroll tongs that I make during the stream. Alrighty. So welcome in, everyone. Hopefully you guys can hear me and everything's going all right. All right. Greetings, Ping. Welcome in. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to start up the forge. I have not actually had a chance to take a look at the press. So it's still on the fritz. I should have time to do something about it tomorrow. But I spent the last 2 days editing the video for the bird feeder hook. That should be up tomorrow. I've got a couple things that I want to plug in. I got to find footage. It's like 9 hours of footage, and I kind of have to sort through it to find these like 2 scenes that I'm looking for, or like these just 2 little lines I'm looking for. So once I've got those done, plugged in, I can render it and put it up on YouTube. So that'll be good. Yes. Video and audio is wonderful. Excellent. It'll probably diminish a little bit when I turn on the forge. Oh, you know what? I forgot to hit record on my stuffies. What time is it? I've got about 1.5 minutes when the ads start. I'll turn them on the record on when the ads start. That way I have a fresh 30-minute clip. All right. So yeah, we are going to be finessing both sides of the tongs. We've got a good start on this side, but we definitely need to thin that out, and we have to mirror that with this guy. So that is our goal for today, is to finish off both sides so we can start doing the punching, the hole punching on Friday. Alrighty. Stay. Alrighty. And it is absolutely gorgeous out today, so I don't even have a coat. It's beautiful. I've got the door open out into the breezeway. We've got lots and lots of ventilation today. Welcome in, Mahalo. It is good to see you all. All right, so let's put this steel in the forge. Put this guy in. And this one. And then we'll put our headphones on. We got some ads going, or at least going soon. So I'm going to turn on the record function. Oh, shoot. All right, so you're going to see some... Whoops, that's... Sorry about that, guys. I have to format my stuff real fast. Because reasons, I'm so sorry. You're probably going to see some weirdness going on. Okay, so apparently I don't have anything there. All right, that's fine. There we go. I'm really sorry about that. Once upon a time, I knew what I was doing. Actually, I never did. That was a lie. All right, there we go. That's better. All right. Kind of like you're doing this project with just the hammer. Then you can compare and contrast later with the press. Yes. I did get beeped, man. So there's a couple buttons on the camera that are really close together. And so I have a menu button so that I can clear the memory cards on the camera, and so like all of the Monday's stream will get deleted off the card. It's already on my computer, so I don't need it on the cards anymore. But the button that's right next to it is the tone and bars, so you can kind of like sync all of your audio together and like kind of have like a clapper thing if you need it. So I accidentally pressed that button instead, so I apologize for the beep. It's kind of a welcome mishap, yeah. So, yeah, well, I will try to get that all taken care of before I start the stream next time. But, like, for whatever reason, I was a little bit, I don't know, scatterbrained today. When I came out to bring all of my equipment out, I usually bring my water, too, as the last thing I bring out. And when I walked out the door, the handle got caught in the door handle and ripped out of my hand and like fell all over the floor. So I had to refill my water and kind of clean up the water that I spilled. It was well timed. Welcome in, Yankee. Yeah, so I'm a little bit scatterbrained today. We'll see what we can do about that. It should be relatively relaxing now that I'm actually got everything started and we've got the forge going and everything. It's time to get in my Zen space, which is blacksmithing. All right. We should be all good now. Everything's recording, everything's in focus-ish. Yep. Alrighty. So, here we go. No. Okay. Let's see. Today I'm gonna have to fight with my lav mic. The shirt that I have underneath of my my sweatshirt's a little bit on the thinner side. So I hope that it's not gonna like float around a little bit, but it might, so hopefully it doesn't. So yes, it's absolutely gorgeous today. It's like 50. So, I mean, that means it might actually be, you know, warm in here today with the forge going. That's absolutely exciting. I'm so happy. I do not like the cold weather. I hate coming out here in the big bulky jacket. So, yeah, I'm very excited today to work. "40-degree heat wave," yeah. To be honest, in this area, there's always at least one day that's like 70 degrees every single month throughout the entire year. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer, there's always at least one day that's 70 degrees. And it makes it really, really nice when I'm forging out in, you know, in the dead of winter. You'll get like a 70-degree day in January and you're just like, yes, short sleeves. It's so nice. So you can go for like hikes and take pictures and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Did that get rid of all your ice and snow? Well, there's a couple places where there's still like, when the plow came through, there's like giant piles of snow. There's still a little bit left, but for the most of it, like the vast majority, it's all melted now. So there's mud everywhere. I have like a very low section of my yard and it tends to flood, so it's like a mud pit out there. And my dog is just like, let's play in the puddles. So needless to say, this weekend she's getting a thorough bath, and I mean, it may end up moving up to, you know, tonight or tomorrow, depending on how icky she gets. So far, she's only like kind of stepped in it, so I've been able to like wipe off her feet. But sometimes she like rolls in the puddles. She's insane. And I mean, you know, when she's rolling in the puddles and then she wants to come inside and then shake off and stuff, and then there's just mud flying everywhere. And obviously we can't have that, so bath it is. All right. the videos we did for the bird feeder hanger, and I find that I have these little tiny cuts because I keep saying and ah, and I keep stopping because I forget I forget my train of thought, and I do like a whole bunch of ah, humming and hawing. So I think what I'm gonna try and do is come up with entire sentences, and then if I like lose my track, I will pause, gather my thoughts, and start again. So I hope that's all right for you guys. That way it's a little bit easier because my editing software has this really neat AI feature on it where I can actually run my whole footage through an AI text generator. So it will actually generate the closed captioning for the entire stream. And then it'll give me a transcript of all of the dialogue that I've said throughout the entire stream. And then I get to just like look through it and pick and choose which parts I want to use and cut out all of the rest just by using the dialogue. And so then when I'm done and I have a script of what I want, to have said within the video, then I can go through and put all of the different parts of like the anvil close-ups or, the wide shots and stuff like that over top of the dialogue. And that's really, really neat. So hopefully it makes my editing a little bit easier if I try and kind of collect my thoughts before I speak. I've been trying to learn how to breathe differently so I sound better. Yeah, I mean, voice training is really important. They'll talk to you about voice training if you are like an actor or if you're like trans. And so like there's classes and lessons that you can take if you're trying to get a, speak with a different accent or with a different cadence and stuff like that. They'll have vocal training and vocal coaches for you. So I did a lot of that sort of thing when I was in high school because I was an actor. So I kind of have that voice that I can use when I can kind of pull it out and dust it off. So, my partner says that I sound completely different when I'm on stream than when I'm out and about in my real life. He thinks it's kind of funny. Yeah, so I mean, I also know that there are actually vocal coaches and vocal training that they do videos on YouTube, and you can just like look that up. You just like vocal lessons, and they can teach you how to speak in different cadences and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of so a lot of it is framed for voiceover artists for like cartoons and video games and stuff like that. There's a lot of like free lessons out there that you can get a hold of. So if you're really looking into that, look up vocal coaching or, as the keywords in YouTube, and you should be able to find a lot. It helps when I remember which camera I'm trying to change to. So I'm really starting to try and finesse that and get a very straight parallel line on that taper. So I've got a really nice handle width on this axis, but I've got a lot of width here that I need to take down a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another heat on this angle. So we're going to hammer this side. And then I'm actually going to shelf in this area right here. And an example of that would be these tongs, right? So we've got the shelf that's right here. And then if you take the boss section of both of these tongs, it's the same So there's a part of me that wishes that I had just isolated in that boss when I first started drawing out the reins. It would have been a lot easier because the area that I've already drawn out is a lot skinnier, and so it moves a lot easier than that thicker section that we're trying to lengthen out and draw out. So it takes a little bit more effort to do that, and I have to correct a lot more. It looks like we've got a bot. So we are going to figure out if we can ban them, because we don't do bots. Where is it? Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Ping. I went to try and ban them, and it was not working right for me. Not a problem. No problem. I know that you watch a lot of different streams all at the same time, and sometimes you are streaming. So, you know, if I can ban them myself, you know, I will try. Not a problem. But yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we don't get flooded with bots. So I think the plan for tomorrow is going to be plugging in those finding and plugging in those two pieces of content into the condensed edited version of the video for the bird feeder hanger, and we're going to post that. I also want to make sure that this VOD goes up on the YouTube, but after I'm done with that, that shouldn't take too long at all. And then I will have the rest of the day to kind of look at my bottle jack, see if I can't fix that. I got to look through, you know, the pressure release valve and the gauges, make sure that everything's all nice and oiled up and ready to go. And then I will be testing that. And the other thing that I need to look into doing is finishing putting the locks on my back door. We changed the locks, but when I took the plate off of the door jamb, there was like a ginormous hole. And so I couldn't put the new plate in the door jamb. I had to kind of repair that. So we ended up taking a bunch of like shims and shoving them in there with wood glue. And now it's time to kind of level that off and drill in a new section for the deadbolt. So we get to do that tomorrow too. You are uniquely qualified to make a real-life Twitch ban hammer. I am uniquely qualified to make a Twitch ban hammer. So, if I were to make a Twitch ban hammer, should I do an actual hammer, like a usable hammer like this one? Or should I fabricate something that's large and hollow? What do you guys think? It would be a lot of fun. You know, we could just fabricate out of sheet metal, weld it all up, and it could be huge, like yay big or something. It'd be relatively light, even being that large, if it was hollow. Or we could also look at cutting into this material. I bought that material to make actual hammers with, so we could do that too. And then make an actual hammer, and then I've got letters and numbers that are punches. And we could put ban, or punch the letters ban in it, and it'd be that ban hammer. I have a larger in life idea, but there is no wrong answers. Yes, I think it'd be so much fun to do a giant fabricated ban hammer, and then we could hang it on the back wall or something instead of this little table thing, you know? We could do that instead. And then, you know, we could put some like other stuff there. Kind of dress up the set a little bit. This summer, we have actually been talking about, when it's really warm and nice, about opening up the garage door and taking everything out of the shop and like just completely rearranging everything. Because right now, I really hate the fact that these windows kind of like bring all of this light in here, and so then I'm like backlit, and it makes it really weird for the wide shot. I feel really blown out, but I could totally bring everything out of the shop and then just flip the setup and then have all of the forges and stuff on this wall instead of that one, and that might be a thing to do. And then I could really dress up the set. And make a dummy prop to whack, label it the chat bot. Yes, we could totally do that too. That would be a lot of fun. Maybe something to do in the summer when it's really nice outside. We can, you know, bring out the coal forge and do some really interesting things with that. Although I think it would be really difficult to do some of it. If I'm doing like thinner sheet and doing like more of a chasing kind of thing, like armor style, we could make like a little bot or whatever, but I'd have to be really careful because if I was using a coal forge, it's really easy to drop through, melt open like little holes in the steel and stuff. So I will keep my, you know, I will think about that project. We'll see what we could do. All right. Focus on this side, this heat. This side as well. And that looks like a really nice even handle. Just take out a little bit of that curve. And then from here, I think I might actually let this guy cool just a little bit so that we'll have an example for as we're doing the other half. I want to make sure that they're identical so that when we put them together, they will go together and open and close correctly. So I think I'm going to cool this guy off. Let's see. What other sorts of projects? So our next project is going to be a set of silverware. And then after that, we're going to do a set of universal tongs. because the next project is going to be a pain in the butt with these tongs. But I don't want to do 2 sets of tongs back to back. So we're going to suffer through the silverware and do a second set of tongs after the silverware. After those 2 projects, I don't have anything specifically that I have on the agenda. I've been thinking about maybe doing like a shelf, like these shelves, they have like little corner things that hold up the shelves. I was thinking about maybe doing something like those. So they're just like little corner L shapes with decorations so that you can hang up shelves. I have been thinking about doing some handles. Because then if we do handles, we can do twists. We've got like just regular twists, we've got pineapple twists, we've got rope twists, all kinds of different twists that we can do. Some other things I've been thinking about are kind of like knobs and stuff like that. We could probably do like a latch or a lock, like a really simplistic lock. Some of those are kind of difficult, but we could probably put one together. We could go back and do more hooks. I could actually work on making a nail header, and we could do a day on nails. See how many nails that we can make in a day. But yeah, those are some ideas for projects. Anything that you guys are interested in doing, I'd be willing to entertain just about anything. Love. Okay. Let's see. Probably gonna try and refrain from doing anything that has too much welder parts in it for the moment, because I want to, or like in order to do those, I'm going to need to get special filters for my lenses so that you guys can see the actual welds and stuff, because pure welding, the light is so bright that it will actually burn out the sensors and cameras. So we got to be really careful about doing our welds. That's why when we welded the bird feeder hanger together, I did that behind the camera so that I didn't wreck the sensors. All of the sound is awesome. The lock is wow. Awesome. I'm really excited. Okay. So if we do the, I can try and put a lock together, make that as a, or you know, I can see about like different designs. I don't want to remake the wheel. There's a lot of different designs for locks. I can see about finding an interesting one. We're gonna add that to the list. Agreed. Awesome. Let us see. All right, we've got plenty of heat, so we're gonna do, wait, ad is starting soon. Okay, so we've got an ad going, and I'm gonna flip my clips, or refresh my clips. Hopefully we will avoid the bars. There's that one. And then there's that one. Okay, so we've got ads going right now, so we're gonna wait a minute and a half before we start on the anvil again. So yeah, what are some other projects that would be really interesting to do? I'm looking around my shop because I have like different projects that I've like began and not finished, or like I do have a few finished projects like laying around that we can kind of look at. So I'm kind of looking to see if we've got any ideas like hanging around in the shop that maybe we could do. Let's see. I do definitely want to put a hammer on the list. but I'm not entirely sure where that's gonna go. I think that definitely, in order to do a hammer, I have to have the press, because I would need a striker if I don't have the press, and I don't have a person to, I don't have an apprentice, so I think that I would need a striker. So we'll kind of make sure, we'll play that one by ear, the hammer. We'll make sure that we've got a working press before I put that one on the list. Because if I can't fix the press, then I have to buy a new bottle jack. And yeah, so gotta make sure I put that in the budget. We are continuing to draw down this section here. We've taken a lot of that width out, so now we need to crush that in a little bit further. And as always, my tongs are being a pain in the butt. That's why we've added the tongs to the list. Okay. Looks like we are developing some scale on top of the anvil. There. All nice and clean. So another project that we could potentially do is a frying pan. Are you guys interested in doing a frying pan or seeing a frying pan? That's a project that requires special tools. I do have those tools though. I've done a couple in the past, frying pans. Here's one of them I have kind of partially done. Let me see if I can't pull that one out. So this is the beginning of a frying pan that I made, or that I started making. I wasn't happy with how it was really wobbly, the edges. If you can see, there's like a lot of like scallops in there. I didn't get a very like an even lip on that, and that's kind of why I stopped working on this one. But yeah, I've done several frying pans. They're really fun to do. So there's a couple different tools that you actually have to have in order to do frying pans. One of them is like it's a steak, or I guess they call it a steak. It's not like a meat steak, but it's like a big long section of metal with like a curvature on the one end of it, and like a corner on the other end. And you can use that to get the dipped shape here. That helps you get more like a bowl shape. And then it's always really nice to have a little round block of steel like this one. So this is how you get that really defined interior edge in the pan. So you hammer it around the round edge, and then you will be able to get the crisp corner inside of there. So if you guys are interested in frying pans, we could do those. And then there's all kinds of decorations that you can do for the handle of frying pans. Those frying pans, they're made out of mild steel, and then to care for them, you actually use them similarly to a cast iron pan, like the ones that you would get from your grandma. So what you would do is you'd like oil it up and then kind of cook it or bake that oil in there. And instead of like scrubbing it, you just kind of like scrape it, rinse it off, and then re-oil it every time you want to use it. So we could do those. Let's see. What else could we do? Lots of stuff. There's lots of projects that we could do. So I kind of have to have like a list with an order of like when we're going to do things. So, but I would like to have a wish list so that I can kind of, you know, pick and choose which are the best projects to go where. So it would be really nice to have, you know, a list of suggestions maybe. If you guys have a few or something, you can send them to me through private messages, through Facebook, YouTube. What else do I have? I have Instagram, Blue Sky, all that. Yeah. And then I also have Discord. It's Yankees Discord. I don't have my own Discord, but you can private message me there. That would be a great use for a Discord. It would be a great use for a Discord. And like I said, I'm really bad about running Discords. I will eventually make one, but the reason that I haven't made one yet is kind of because I'm trying to join other people's communities and build communities. I don't really want to separate my community from the general at-large maker and crafter space. So I've kind of been trying to appear in different places. I'm really bad about it. I'm not very good at social media. I will work to get better at it. I'm trying. I'm really trying. But I will eventually make my own Discord because I think that, you know, being able to get a hold of me whenever you need to is, or whenever you have a question, you know, I'd like to be around. I could help with that, the Discord. Okay. Yeah, maybe I will set one up maybe this weekend, if I remember correctly. If you remind me on Friday, I'll try and set one up this weekend, so that we can, like, you know, have that for you guys to, you know, directly message me about different things. Because I think I'll be a little bit too busy with all of the rest of the stuff that I am doing tomorrow. And then Friday, usually I spend the days where I actually stream getting ready for the stream. So I think the closest time I'll be able to make a Discord and like organize it and stuff would be Friday night. So if you remind me, I will try and do that. All right. I'm not getting as much work in each heat as I have been getting in the past few streams. So I'm not sure if that's just because I'm not hammering as hard as I have been, or if it's because of like just the way that I'm holding it. It might be. I might need to turn it around. I think maybe after this next heat, I might turn that around and see if I can't get a little bit more work in that way. The click from my water bottle is like peeking out my audio for whatever reason. It's kind of interesting. The sound in the camera is much better. Well, thank you. I'm glad. So I have on like right here, I have a lav mic, and that's kind of it's from this like lovely set. I have a link to it, you know, around if you guys are interested in what exact set it is, but like it's these lav mics, and so it's like this thing, right? And it's got this magnet on it, and I can magnet inside of my shirt, and then it kind of so it's like it'll pick up, but it only picks up one side. So this one is it should be like the right channel, or maybe I think it's the right channel, and then the other one that's inside the box is the left channel, so that I have the receiver for this plugged directly into that camera, which is the wide view. And then on this camera, I have a shotgun mic, and it picks up the ambient sound in like a cone. So you're not going to get quite as good of audio out of the anvil cam as you will on the wide cam. But the sound should be a lot better than it has been. Oh, is it the left speaker? Yeah, I haven't found a good way to split the mono into a stereo. What I can do in like my editing software later on for like the condensed ones, which I haven't figured out how to do yet, is I can actually split them into stereo. But I haven't been able to figure out how to do it yet. I have to ask that as a question. I just learned how to sync up the different cameras tracks together in one clip, so I can kind of like pick and choose what I want. So yeah, right now my lav mic is mono. So if it's the left side, then yeah, you're only going to pick up the left side. The one inside the box is only going to pick up the right side, and it's kind of for like interviews and stuff. So you put one mic on your subject and one mic on the interviewer, and so then you get the right and the left. So that's how it's supposed to be working, and it's kind of like I record the audio here, and I theoretically should just be able to duplicate it and turn it into stereo for YouTube, but it's harder to do that with OBS because it's like working directly in the camera. I'm not sure if there's a way that I can like split it in the camera. I might ask that as a question for my partner. Because it is a little bit odd that it's only in the left side mono. And it's kind of abrupt when I changed to the shotgun mic, because the shotgun mic actually is in stereo. So, I don't know. I do my best, I promise. Let's see. I think I need a minute for just a second. Let's see. How am I going to approach this? It's a lot easier for me to internalize this when I have the press going. Because I've just come off of, like, before I really started streaming, I had just finished making 3 sets of tongs. So we made a 5/8 inch stock, specifically sized pair of tongs, and then we made a 1/4 inch stock sized, or specifically sized set of tongs. And then I made another set of tongs that I was supposed to be making as so that I could make D20 dice. And I kind of screwed those ones up. But I made all of those with the press. Because when I first started getting back into the shop, I couldn't really breathe very well. So the press really helped me out. And it was really functional. And now it's not. So we'll get that functional. But yeah, I've kind of got to, like, bring my brain back a little bit further to when I was, like, making tongs by hand. So it's a little bit more challenging for me. So a second or a minute? I don't know, maybe a second. I needed to catch my breath for a moment. Gather my thoughts a little. Like I said, I'm really trying to correct all of the fumbling, or like the word jumble and the word salad. So if I collect my thoughts and speak slower, then I don't end up with, like, all of the likes and ums and ahs. Or, I mean, I still have them, but there's less of them. And it should be theoretically easier to read the transcript for my edits. So yeah, I have a tendency to get, like, really internalize what's going on with, like, the technological part of the stream. And I think that I need to kind of relax about that. I think I've got things about as good as they're going to get for the moment. I think there's a couple things that I could improve, but I think that, you know, that's going to take a little bit more time and a little bit more money. I think that it would be really nice to have a better solution for my audio, but this is what I've got for the moment. So I need to really stop worrying about things and then just start focusing on the community and talking to you guys and, like, actually explaining the blacksmithing part of stuff. So it's hard for me to kind of focus in my thoughts. And I think that I really need to, like, internalize what I'm trying to say and speak slower. Try to hold the set down button on the side of the lav mic for 2 seconds to switch to stereo. So this lav mic doesn't actually, it doesn't do stereo. There are 2 lav mics in the set. One does right and one does left. So there's no way that I'm able to do that. It's just the way that they're designed. This one it's like kind of it's for backup audio specifically. So yeah, there's, like, actually no way to turn it into, or to put it into stereo with the hardware itself. The only way that I can turn that into stereo is by duplicating the audio through a program. And I have not figured out how to do that on OBS. I can do that in my editing software. I know I can do it, but it's kind of like I don't know how. So we'll work on that. But unfortunately, I am limited to the mono for the moment in OBS. Yep, I am working on it each and every stream, and I'll see the improvement as it unfolds. Just looked it up from the link, but okay. Oh, really? Because this one, it has the set button, and I hold it, and that's how it records. So if I hit the button right now, you can see that it's recording. It's the little red blinky light. And then if I hit it again, that light turns blue, and that is cutting down all of the ambient noise from the forge. So I guess if I hold it again, now it's not recording internally. So if I hold it, now it's recording internally. Is it in stereo? I don't know that it's in stereo. I mean, I also have a power button up here, but yeah, this is the set button and that's the power button. So I don't know. For 2 seconds. Let's try this again. 1, 2. It should be theoretically recording again, hopefully. So I don't know. Did it change? Is it in stereo now? I don't know if it is or not. But yeah, I'm gonna do another heat, and while we're trying to figure that one out. It's still on the left side. Okay, so audio is on the left side now. All right, I don't believe it changed. That's why I prefer to remain silent. Can't speak for the life of me. Yeah, I don't know. We do the best we can, you know? Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. As far as the audio, because my partner bought these lav mics for a project that he did for a chiropractor. He did a commercial for them, and so it was kind of like for an online commercial thing. So when he bought them, he like read all the reviews and stuff like that, and he's pretty thorough about the different instructions and stuff, and making sure that I know that he knows how everything functions. And so he didn't give me any reason why it would be able to do stereo. but I don't, you know, maybe I put the wrong link up on my Amazon list. That could be as well. Because he looked at a couple different versions of this. I think I put the right one on. I thought I got it from our recently ordered, but I do my best. I asked I asked if I should just put both of the lav mics on at the same time, because then I'd have right and left at the same time. But he thought that it would make the audio echo, and I don't know. It probably would. So I didn't do that, because it's not designed to have both of them on the same person, I guess. So. But it is a lot better than the phone, where it wouldn't take the audio at all. So, you know, I feel like I have massively improved the stream with this new setup. All right. It looks like we've got ads starting in a couple seconds. Very true. Yeah, we've got a couple ads starting. So as soon as those ads are done, we'll do another heat. But it is not fair, or at least I don't think it's fair, to do a heat while the commercials are going. So we're just going to, you know, chit chat. Maybe clean up the space a little bit. I have to flip my clips, or I guess refresh the clip. I keep saying flip my clips, and I really mean refresh them. Okay. Because I have to refresh my clips every 30 minutes because that camera, which is the Anvil camera, it's kind of an older camera. I've got the Lumix S5, I think, or no, it's a GH5 for the wide camera, but that one is the GH like 3, and it's like 2 years older than this one, and so it doesn't record as long, so I have to refresh the clips so that I can record the entire thing. So the ad space is a good reminder for me to refresh the clips. Let's see. What else is going on? Like I said, I am almost done with my video or my latest video for the bird feeder hanger. That should be up next, or like tomorrow. It should be up tomorrow afternoon. So you can look forward to that one. And then so the other things I gotta do tomorrow is post the VOD onto the YouTube and work on my press. I think I'd hang one microphone on the center of the shop on one of the microphone arms so you could move it around that central area. That's an idea. I kind of that's kind of like what the shotgun mic is supposed to do, but the VOD doesn't actually, or I guess not the VOD, it's my capture card only has the audio from one source. So either the one camera or the other camera. So interesting. And it is an interesting idea. Oh, come on, get out of here. You know what? I forgot to flip my camera. So let's do that real fast. focus on the two bosses after that. And we should be able to get a good amount of effort and movement on that today. I'm hoping that's my goal for the day, is to get each of these finished and ready for punching the holes for the rivets. But you only really need one audio source. Makes editing easier too. Yeah. So it's easier for me to sync the clips from the wide shot and the anvil camera if I have audio feeding directly into both of them, because then I have the audio waves that I'm able to sync them up to. So that way I can kind of get rid of all of the stuff that's just the anvil and I'm not actually working with it. And then when I get to the clips where I am working on it, I can sync those up with the audio waves to the wide camera. Drun-O Monkeys, that's cool. Welcome in, Drun-O Monkeys. Or no, it's Drun-Q Monkeys. Welcome in. So yeah, I've got both cameras and they're recording the entire time. So if I sync them up by the audio file waves, it's a lot easier. And then I can also make sure that I have all of the audio from whatever source I want, whichever is better. So yeah, if anybody has anything, blacksmithing related, like questions and stuff like that, I think I need to stop talking about the audio and the cameras for a little bit, because it's starting to kind of befuddle my brain a little bit. Because I still need to consider what I'm doing with my forging, and then I'm trying to troubleshoot in my head, and so then I'm thinking about two different things, and so my speaking is getting a little bit befuddled. So okay, I've never seen how a blacksmith works. Yeah. Blacksmithing is it's a very rare art form these days. There are, several of us around. There's some in Europe. There's some in like the Great Britain area. And then we have several interspersed in the United States. There are probably several other places. Like I know there are a lot of smiths in Japan that are still doing the old folding techniques, making swords, and a lot of them are actually starting to make more pens, which is a very interesting process. They're doing the same forging and folding technique that they use for swords, but they're actually making the billets and then taking them on a lathe and turning them into pens. And they're like high-end, incredible luxury pens that CEOs trade with each other. So those are really cool. But yeah, I'm a blacksmith. I've been blacksmithing for about 10 years, over 15 years. I took about a 5-year break, and I'm just kind of shaking the rust off after, being sick for a little while. So I've got my hammer, I've got my tongs, I've got my anvil, and this is my forge. So it's a lot of fun. I like to try and keep the art form alive. Let's see. Do we got enough heat? Yes, we do. much metal would you need for a hammer that I want to make? Oh, for the hammer that I want to make. Which hammer are we talking about, Ping? Are we talking about a hammer like this guy, or are we talking about the giant oversized band hammer that we were talking about earlier? So I guess I can answer both of those questions. As far as the making a functional hammer, I have this section of steel right here. I'm not going to touch it because it's really, really hot, because I use it as a tool rest nowadays. So when I have really long sections of steel, I kind of rest them on here because this height is the same height as the floor of the forge. So if I have a really long piece of steel and I don't want it to fall over, I rest it on this piece of steel. But this guy is about 1.5 inches thick, about 2 inches wide, and this guy is probably about 3 feet long. If I were to make a functional hammer out of this guy, I would probably look into being about 5 inches, I would say. I'd cut right off of this guy, this chunk, and then what I would actually do is take that extra inch and I would squish it in to kind of give myself a little bit more height and width, or I guess girth. So from the 5-inch piece, I'd squish it in about 1 inch, and then it would be a little bit closer to these dimensions. And I should be able to get about a 2-pound hammer out of that. Now, if I were to make a giant hollow hammer, like the band hammer that we were talking about, I'd come over here and I have a couple sheets of sheet steel that I would grab out, and then I could make those, or I usually buy sheet steel in, let's see, you can buy them in the same dimensions that you get your standard 4x8 sheets of plywood. So I usually buy them in half sheets. So I do the 4x4 pieces of sheet steel. I have a piece right over there, and it is, what is that? I think that one is actually an 1/8 inch thick sheet steel. Oh, nice. Yeah. The tool version. But yeah, we have talked a lot about different hammers. Yeah. So I could make several hammers out of this piece right here. If I wanted to make something like a 3-pound hammer, closer to like this guy right here, I think I'd probably take about 6 to 8 inches off of that guy, and I would crush that down into a more manageable block, maybe about yay big. So I think I could probably do that relatively easily. You will gain a little bit more length when you are punching out the hammer eye, the eye of the hammer, which is where the handle is attaches. So for a hammer, the drift is what they call it, the punch that you use to make the hole. That is an oval shape. But if I were to be making an axe like Yankee works with, those are actually kind of egg-shaped. They're like wider on one side and skinnier on the other, so that you can get that wedge shape in there. So there are differences. And if I were going to make a hammer, the first thing I would have to make would be a hammer eye drift, because I do not have one. You can purchase those online, but I'm not sure that I really trust some of the online purchases. Like, you can buy one on Amazon, but I would not trust that one. That's why I have my Amazon partner links. There's very few blacksmithing supplies in that list. And the reason for that is because those are items that I actually, have bought. And I actually do recommend those pieces or those things. But there's a lot of stuff that you can buy on Amazon that I don't know the quality of it. So I'm not going to put it on my list of things that I recommend, if that makes sense. I need this link. Okay, yeah, so the link to the stuff that I have actually used is basically, it's like fire bricks like these 3 that I have in front of my forge. It has the heat colors. So it's like a giant aluminum poster that has like different types of hammers and different types of tongs and stuff like that. And then it also has the heat colors. And then the other thing that I have is like fire brick mortar, right? So it's so that you can line the inside of your forge. So I have that as a 3rd item on there for the moment. And those are in the Amazon partner links. They're probably closer towards the bottom of the screen. Like when I'm actively streaming, all of my stuff gets squished and everything gets all weird on there. But when I'm not streaming, it's like there's 3 little boxes on the top. And it's the top right-hand box that is my Amazon partner links. Oh, the Discord link? Yeah. Once I set up the Discord link, I'll put that up there too, in my little like sections and stuff, with all the rest of my social media links. But yeah, I can also, help you guys with, your questions about tools and what type of stuff that you'd like to acquire and purchase. And if you find, like a lot of my stuff I purchased off of Craigslist in the United States. There's also like swap meet kind of sites like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that that you can look at. If you do have something that you're, interested in or looking at, if you send me a link on Yankees Discord, my Discord, when I get that set up, or a private message, I can look at those links and I can give you advice on what to buy and what not to buy. Oh, still talking about the Amazon list. Yeah, that's on my little pagey thingy. I also have a frequently asked questions there. It's got things like, how heavy is my anvil? What happened to the top of my anvil? All of those questions that I said, I'm going to add that to a frequently answered questions list. I put that there. So I'm trying slowly to add things, to kind of, increase the quality of the channel. I also have a timer for like when I'm streaming, so it's like a countdown for my next stream. What else do I have? My Ko-Fi is there. Yeah, stuff like that. So, take a look if you feel like it. If not, keep watching, because I'll talk about it eventually. I have not been happy with what I've seen with Amazon so far. Yeah, I've kind of been taking this as a full-time job. So I'm actually putting 40 hours of work a week into, the stream and all of the peripherals that I do for the stream. So it's been interesting. And I've seen some growth, and I'm not expecting to see, much returns for the first couple years, but I'd like to turn it into a business, helping people out and answering questions and making videos and stuff. I'll be one of those influencers. All right, we got time. probably gonna dox myself by doing this a little bit at least. But I think I've told you guys before that I live within an hour of St. Louis, Missouri. So, I mean, Missouri's, you know, or I guess, you know, the Illinois side and the Missouri side of St. Louis, it's a pretty big area. So, I mean, I guess I'm not doxing myself too badly. But one of our local pizza places is called Emo's, and I used to work there. So this was one of my uniform shirts, but it's really comfortable. But yeah, as far as Amazon, like the tools that I've seen on Amazon, I really don't know the quality of them. Just the pictures of them, they just don't look very good to me. A lot of it looks like drop casted crap that's just going to break and shatter. So I know for a fact that Alex Steele, let me type his name out for you guys in the chat. Did I spell that right? Alex Steele. He's a blacksmith. He has a YouTube channel, and you can look him up. He has a video where he actually bought a whole bunch of the Amazon tools, like the ones that you can buy on Amazon, and he reviewed them. So he's got that video, and so before I buy any tools on YouTube, I would kind of like look at that. But really, the only tools that I personally trust are ones that either A, I've made, or B, I bought at antique stores or from fellow blacksmiths. So yeah, that's kind of why when I got Amazon Partner, I really only put the stuff that I use for the stream, the technology stuff, because I don't know that I trust the blacksmithing stuff. I would hate to tell you that, oh, this hammer is great, and then it just shatter the first time you use it, you know? Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of like I will only give you recommendations for things that I use or I, know people who use. So, yeah. Now, there is a site that has a couple things on it that I'm all right with, but they're more of a jewelry site, and that is Rio Grande. So they do have a couple forging hammers on there, but most of their stuff is for like small scale jewelry casting and jewelry making. So it's kind of like you look things up there, but you're not going to get any actual blacksmithing tools. The forge is a big one, I think. Yes, as far as safety, it's so important. I have actually made every single one of my forges, but I bought my burner already made. So I can actually give you a list of all of the different pieces, because this guy, he made it out of black iron pipe, like from a plumbing store. So it's like, that's a 1/8 inch piece of black iron pipe, the little teeny guy, and then that's like a T, and we've got a longer piece of black iron pipe. I have a list of all of the different things that it's made of, and I can give that to you, but sometimes it's just easier to buy a burner. There is one place that I do recommend, but it's incredibly expensive, and they make forges, or because they make custom forges, and that is Chili Forge. I have not actually looked at their site in years. I don't know if they're still in business, but Chili Forge, let's see, are they in business? I could probably look those up right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Control, copy. Control, paste. So if you're looking for a pre-made forge, those are the best, right? They are specifically designed for knife making and for doing forge welding. They are incredibly expensive. I looked into getting one time, and the quote that they were giving me about 7 years ago was $1,500. Now, not everybody has that amount of money. And I know that, but if you're like really going for a gas forge and that you really, really want to trust and you're trying to put that investment in, they are the best. If you're looking for something cheap, my recommendation is look to see if you have someone who sells coal. You're looking for Bitmus coal. So that's the stuff that burns hot and clean for blacksmithing. And then look up plans to make a coal forge. They're really easy to make. You could actually buy a coal forge for about $50 at an auction sometimes. And like sometimes there's like cracks in them. You just weld the bead up there and it should be fine. But yeah. So yeah, chili forges are the best. They're the only ones that I feel like I can recommend with confidence. Like I said, I've built every single one of my forges, but I also I spent like before I bought my forge, I spent a couple months like looking at different plans for forges and building them. And then doing a lot of homework and research because I wanted to make sure that I was as safe as possible. And I did not start up any of my forges when I was alone the first time. So I always had my partner or, someone else with me when I was starting up my forge for the first time, just in case something happened, All right. I don't know, or I don't have my ad timer up. There it is. I got about 2 minutes. That's plenty of time. I can do one more heat in that. Probably. Hopefully. I've got scale flying everywhere, so I got to be really careful. So yeah, if you're looking for a brand new chili forge, a brand new gas forge, chili forge is the way to go. Or spend, a couple, hours looking up different plans for them. I really wish that I remembered the guy's name that made my mailbox. I wonder if I have his card still. It does not look like I do. I'm sorry, guys. So there's this guy that I met in Wisconsin. and he makes a beautiful forge. I call this the mailbox. This is a single fire brick covered in a sheet of steel. It is protected to the point where I just dropped it and it's fine. It's beautiful. So inside there is like a, try not to break it. So he kind of like, he drilled all the way through this fire brick and then kind of cut into it. And it goes all the way through, and then he drilled in the top for this guy, and this is a bunch of black iron pipe. And then this is the burner that he has inside. So this is a MIG welder tip, and this is inside of a piece of black iron pipe, and it's kind of like jammed up in there. So this is an absolutely amazing burner. So how it works is that you've got this T right here, and this guy goes inside here, and the MIG pipe rests halfway down the hole for here, right? So this is called a self-aspirating burner or forge burner. So air gets sucked into this hole by the pressure from the gas going through the little pipe, and then it gets shoved down inside of the forge. So this guy is a knife maker's forge, and it's just for making knives. So this guy gets hot enough to forge weld, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love this. I love this mailbox. It's so efficient. I can do a week solid of forging on one barbecue tank of propane. So I will probably, when I get a chance, I will probably do a video on that guy, just that guy. That way maybe, because like the guy who made that, he was just a regular blacksmith just like me. He wasn't like manufacturing it or anything. So maybe I'll try and do a video, you know, kind of covering each part to see maybe, because like if you could get that set up, it'd be a really good burner for you guys, or a really good forge. It's really cheap too. I paid $150 for that thing. Oh, I need to switch my clips real fast, and then I will go back to you. All right. Wow, that's 10% of other ones. Yeah, it really is. I really wish that I could find his card, because he gave me his card. But it was about 7 years ago, you know? It's hard keeping track of somebody's card for 7 years. That is pretty close. Close enough that I am not concerned about the difference. So next thing we're going to, what we're going to do next heat is we are going to really define this in, and then we will start working on the boss, because I think I'm pretty happy with the reins. So yeah, the mailbox was designed with the beginner blacksmiths in mind, and it's incredibly portable and very efficient. I love that thing. We will eventually probably move closer to using that one a little bit more frequently if we start doing smaller projects, just because it is so efficient on propane. Currently, my propane is starting to freeze, and I can start it's slowing down a little bit. It hasn't started puffing yet, but it's slowing down a little bit. We've been streaming for about an hour and 45 minutes, so at the 2-hour mark, it's probably going to want to shut itself down. So I'll see if I've got another tank that we can continue working, because I really want to go to the 2.5-hour mark if I can manage it. Because I really want to get those bosses in hand, so that we can really start punching in the holes on Friday. That is the goal, or starting to punch the holes on Friday. So for punching the holes, we've got round punches like this one. This is kind of an old one. You can see it's well loved. It's got that mushroom on the back end from being hammered over and over. So yeah, we take a punch like this and we kind of hammer it down inside of the hot metal and it will punch in the hole. You'll lose a lot less material than you would if you drilled that same hole. So instead of cutting all that material away, you're pushing it all outward. So you get thicker cheeks on your pieces. That's how these got so thick there, and they're kind of round because I punched this hole in this one. So we'll start punching the holes on Friday. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of extra effort to punch holes, because I'm really meticulous about doing the initial punch, because if I move around the punch every time I hit it, then it gets all sloppy and it won't open and close correctly. So once we get those 2 holes taken care of, after that we will work on making a rivet to rivet it, or to put through the 2 holes, and then we'll rivet it all together. And then it will open and close, and we will have a set of scrolling tongs. Hopefully they'll be semi-pretty. They'll be a little bit long, but we're hoping that they function pretty good. So this is an elbow brace, and I keep messing with it because it's itchy. The rivet sounds cool to craft. So yeah, making a rivet is very similar to making a nail. So how I make them is I take a piece of bar, and then I kind of I round it out, and then I cut it off when it has a head on it. So these tongs, I just cut it off at the square bar. I will usually cut it off while it's still round, but this time I gave myself a little bit of extra leeway. But I mean, it's round, and then you kind of put the top, so it's like a head on there, and then you put each side on, and then you hammer it in and kind of crush it and sandwich the 2 together. So it's a lot of fun. We will, really hone in on that. It doesn't take too long, but I'm really bad at riveting. I always forget how long it needs to be, whether it needs to be like really long or really short. So the first time we rivet it might not be the last time we rivet it. I will do my best. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my template and this is different than how I normally make them. Maybe I'll look at my other template. Okay. So we've got ourselves a little shelf right here already. So if we're comparing the two, this section is this section. So we've got our shelf on this side and right there. So that means if we turn this over, we've got a nice diagonal shelf on that side. So in order to make this, I gotta remember to hold it like this on the anvil and hammer it here so that we've got that diagonal shelf right there. So if I remember that this corner needs to point at this corner of the broken section of my anvil, corner and corner, straight line, hopefully I will remember. Oh, come on, let me pick you up. Now you get to watch me struggle because I forgot to flip my camera. All right, so we are going to hone in that shelf. So we've got a nice corner so that we can do that corner to corner thing that I just talked about. So I'm gonna flatten that out a bit, that it's nice and even with the rest of the handle, the rest of the brains. All right, and then we've got corner to corner, so when the next heat we're going to go just like this. So we've got the corner facing the corner. And if I remember that, we'll get that nice diagonal shelf exactly how we want it. So that's a lot better. We've got a little bit of length that we need to reach from here, but that should be relatively easy to do. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. I think we can fix any errors that we've gotten. Ugly though, I won't lie. We might end up with more sharky looking ones. I'd have to scribe a witness mark or something to remember that. Looking good. Thank you. Like I said, I think it's kind of ugly, but we'll be able to fix a little bit further, or like we'll be able to fix the aesthetics of it a little bit as we're going. So hopefully they'll look fine. I think that these guys are pretty decent looking. I mean, they're not like amazingly the best tongs I've ever seen, but I think they're functional and I think they look all right. But I mean, if you're really looking for a set of professionally made tongs that I purchased, these guys are probably my best looking tongs. These were purchased at an antique mall. These are farrier's tongs. So, and then I've got a second set of farrier's tongs. I believe these were made by a farrier. But yeah, a couple good sets, a couple pretty things. Most of my other tongs I've made myself. But yeah, I tend to forget a lot which direction I want to put the diagonal shelf in. I forget a lot, but I do my best to remember. And if I remember the corner and the corner, you know, that's a little bit easier for me to remember. Whew. Let's see. Starting to run out of water today. It's really, like I said, it's really warm here today. So I've been drinking a lot more frequently. At least I'm not sweating through my clothes. When it gets to be summertime, a lot of times I sweat through my clothes. So I gotta be careful, because now that I'm streaming, that could be a bad thing. I will have to pay attention to what I'm wearing, I think. LOL. Yeah, I gotta make sure that I am not wearing clothing that will turn transparent if I start sweating. So yeah, because that would be inappropriate, and then I would get banned from TikTok or from Twitch, and that would probably be a sad thing. Or I will have to, you know, write adult content on the thing. So, but that's all right. I am thinking about making, or like actually making some shirts, like designs for some shirts. I have one design in mind already. So like I said, my editing software has an AI function built in where it will caption the entire, or like the entire script of everything I say. And when it gets to the hammer sections, sometimes the AI makes it, or it says parentheses clanging, C-L-A-N-G-I-N-G, clanging. And I think that would be a really fun shirt to have. Ping is raiding with a party of 8. Well, thank you for the raid, Ping. I'm going to shout you out. That way you don't have to shout yourself out. Yes. Watch Ping stream. It's so relaxing. I mean, it's usually, you know, pictures of his, or like views of his backyard where you can watch the birds. Sometimes they fight. Sometimes there's squirrels. There's really soothing music. It's great. We love Ping stream. All right, what do we got? Okay, that's my stream chat. Okay. Which one do we have? That one. Oops. And campfire. Do you do campfires on your stream? That sounds like a blast. I love bonfires. I just love watching fire. You can kind of, you know, guess that about me. I like watching fire. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of shape this area right here real fast. Kind of giving myself a little bit of a direction for that. of that line in there. You can kind of see it a little bit, a tiny bit, but we don't have a lot of heat. We need to push it back just a hair bit because I don't want the quarter to get hung up when we're opening and closing them. So I think that's going to be our next heat for this. Then we're going to kind of clean this one up a little bit. Trying to clean this guy up a little bit. Whoops, I went the wrong direction. Ooh, let's see if I can correct that. I hope I can correct that. I went the wrong direction. Yeah, we're gonna, Jesus. Don't always get it right. Okay. Love them. Did one this week. Worked 2 hours and 40 minutes in 29 Fahrenheit weather. Oh gosh, that would be awful. I mean, I guess the fire would be really warm, but anywhere outside of that ambient flame, the heat from the fire would be so cold. Yee. I do not take cold very well. You could probably tell. I would much rather it be like 100 degrees than below zero. So yeah, and it does get above 100 degrees in here during the summertime. It usually gets about 100 degrees outside, and then with the added heat from the forge, we get up to about 130 degrees in here. So when we're working really hard, yeah, it can get really hot fast. So yeah, I do think I want to design some t-shirts so that I can wear them when it gets warmer. So that way I'm advertising, fun things about blacksmithing. I have several different blacksmithing shirts, but I want to make some of my own. And then if you guys like the designs, maybe we can, send them off and have a few made for you guys too. Yeah, I can't wait until spring, summer, fall. Much easier to have stream fire. Yes. Fires on stream would be so much easier. I think fall and spring are my favorite times to have bonfires. When it's just cold enough that you want to sit next to the fire for that ambient heat, but not cold enough that you freeze when you're going back into the house. But yeah, I would like to make some designs for t-shirts. And it would be really cool if you guys liked them too. And then we can, wear shirts together and, have community that way. Audrey, Lauren, me. Fires. Yes, all the fire. Welcome in. Community does rock. Community is the best part of streaming. I mean, when I'm out here by myself, it's very meditative, but it's also really lonely. And so it's just me and my music. When I'm with you guys streaming, I don't even have music playing because I've got you guys to talk to. I never feel lonely with you guys around. It's so much fun to hang out with you guys. Game Club Central. Yes. Welcome in, everybody. I absolutely love the community that we have started building here. We are up to 82 followers. Thank you, Game Club Central, for the follow just this minute. Hello. Hey, guys. Welcome in. But yeah, I absolutely love this community. You guys are the best. you guys enabled this whole thing. I mean, if I didn't have you guys to kind of keep me accountable coming out here, I would have stopped streaming a long time ago. I would have stopped, you know, coming out, because, I mean, for a while it was so bitter cold. I just didn't want to come out. Like, for the last 2 weeks, every day I'm like, do I really need to go out? Do I really need to go out? And then I was like, I was reminded of you guys. And the fact that you guys kind of count on me a little bit, and, you know, you encourage me, and I really like talking to you guys. Every time I don't want to come out, I come out anyway, and then I'm like, I am so glad I came out. Yep, I found you through Ping on one of his first streams. Ping and Audrey both have, you know, really good communities. Yeah. But yeah, you guys encouraged me to come out here, and I'm really grateful for that. It's been an amazing, you know, boon in my life to have you guys, you know. It gets me away from my computer and out and doing stuff. It helps me get out of bed in the morning. All right. We've got plenty of time for another one. We're trying to kind of correct this guy. I kind of screwed him up a little bit on our last heat. So now I gotta correct it a little bit. We've gotten rid of that little the shelf that we formed there. We've kind of made it there, made it up right here. So we should be fine. We should be able to start this boss on our next heat for this piece. And now, corner to corner. We remember our corners, corner to corner. And we've really started getting that nice diagonal in there, if you can see that. Sometimes it's easier when I kind of twist it a little bit, but you can definitely see that that edge forming. So this side is looking really good. We've got a little ways to go though. Starting soon, so I was able to finish that right on time. Okay, so the rivet will start as a mushroom shape first, then join the two, and lastly flattened out on the other side. Absolutely, exactly, that's how it works. So basically, I will take a piece of my 1/4-inch stock, and I will hammer that into a round, like a round section of, like a cylinder of steel, and then I will cut it off, And then once I cut that off, I'll kind of round out the area, like the head of it a little bit. And then we put it head down on the anvil face, and then we put each side of the tongs on over top of the rivet, and then hammer that all down. But yeah, that is exactly how that functions. I would tell you that there's a video of it on YouTube, but there isn't. I did a stream of another set of tongs that I made. That was like the first thing I streamed making, was another set of tongs. But I think the vast majority of the VODs have been deleted, because it's been, I started that one in November, and so I think we're up to mid-January where it's starting to delete. So there are no VODs of that, and I was not able to put that or those streams up on the YouTube because I had to get rid of them. I have a very limited amount of hard drive space, or I did at the time. I have a much bigger hard drive now for editing. But yeah, I will take special care to film the making of the rivet as well as riveting the two pieces together themselves. So, yes, we will get them done. We'll work it. So, there are actually a couple other things that I will need to do before I start punching the holes in them too. Because right now, the profile of the tongs that we've made is very square. And there's like very sharp corners on the reins of the tongs. So before we punch in those holes, what we're going to do is we're going to take those corners down so that they're easier to hold and squeeze. So we'll probably kind of make another pass on them on Friday before we start punching in those holes. So, yeah. Let's see if I can get these out. Come on. Alright, so I think we're going to try and do the quarter and corner. Just like the other side. And we've kind of got a shelf that's pre-made there that we've got. You can see that. It's like right there. It's looking pretty good. And then I'm pretty happy with the shape of this now, where it's starting to look a little bit less blobby. So I think that we'll actually make some okay looking tongs. Yeah. So hopefully they'll work pretty well. And we're going to continue on this guy. Widening out, and I really like that, but it's a lot skinnier on the other side, so we're going to have to take special care to reshape both sides of these. Just to, we might want to squish in this side, but I think we're going to work on it a couple more heats, and then we'll bring them both out and kind of compare them. And then we'll see what sort of corrections we can make to make them look a little bit prettier. All right. So I've always been a lot better at making the tongs with the long necks, these types of tongs, than I have ever been with like the flat style tongs. These always look really ugly to me. I never am very good at making them. So I'm doing my best, but they might actually be still pretty ugly. And if they are really ugly, then I guess I will have to, you know, tack on another set at some point in the future. And we'll see how pretty I can make those. So I think that I can make them look okay, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Besides, there's always grinding them. I have faith you can do it. Well, I'm glad for your faith, because I am not amazingly confident this time. I don't know. I kind of have a bit of an imposter syndrome at times. And I'm thinking that I have some of that right now. So I know that we'll make it happen. And we'll make a functional set. And I hope that I can make them pretty. Even if I have to, you know, spend an extra day making them pretty. We will do it. We will do it. So I'm thinking that we might actually end up adding an extra day anyway and end these streams on Wednesday, and that would make it 7 days for this one. Yeah, because we're currently up to 4 days on this project. I have planned for another 2 days, so Friday and Monday, but I think we might end up with that 7th day. I'm really hoping not, but it's starting to look more and more like it. But I mean, when I did make this plan, I thought that we were going to be able to use the press. And I'm really impressed by only having to add 1 day of extra time when I went from the press to hand forging. So I'm actually pretty impressed by that. Deadlines are meant to be broken. I mean, yes. And there's always that whole, you know, the whole adage of like always one more heat, you know? If it's not one more heat, then it's not good enough. Anytime I say, you know, I'm done, I end up doing another heat and then... So, yeah. We are going to do our best. But yeah, I would like to get to the point where I can make an accurate deadline. Because once I get to that point, then I can, you know, start taking simple commission work. And then you guys can, like, you know, send your friends who are looking for custom blacksmith stuff. You can send them my way, and then I'll be able to, like, you know, make them things. I need a one mo emote and sure. Oh yes, one more. I do. I don't have any emotes. Like my only emotes I have are the LOL emote. That's like the default one. We should do some emotes. Maybe that's what I should. Maybe. When do I have time for that? Maybe this weekend? I will try and make some emotes here in the next few. I will make that a priority. So you can explain the difference between a single versus 2+. Yes, yes. One more heat. We will make that an emote. And a shirt, yes. That would be a great shirt. One more heat, you know? With like maybe an anvil on it, or do we want a forge on it? I don't know that a forge silhouette would be amazingly readable. I'll think about it. A burner. Okay, so can you explain the difference between a single versus a two-burner forge? Oh, yes, I can definitely do that. Okay. So, a single burner forge, usually you make them, how do I... That is one of those things that, like, I know the knowledge, but I have to translate the knowledge into words that make sense to other people. Okay. Okay, so a two-burner forge pumps out a lot more heat and for over a larger amount of area. A single burner forge, when the heat pumps through, there is always a cold spot in the center of the cone of the flame. I know this is kind of dumb, but I'm going to show you. And the best way to show you is actually using this torch. If I can light it, that is. Okay. So the flame that you can see, can you see this cone? This flame? You should be able to. Okay. So there's like a little cold spot. Oh, I'm opening it further. Am I? No. What am I doing? Okay. So you can see there's a little inner cone in this flame, and there's a cold spot in there. So the hottest part of this flame is over here, right? And the coldest part is in the center of this cone, right? So when you have a single burner, you have a giant cold spot in the center of your forge, and it's so you have less cold spots when you have a double burner, if that makes sense, because you kind of have a Venn diagram of heat, right? So the cold spot of one of your burners is covered by the hot spot of your other burner, and vice versa. Does that make sense? Did I explain that correctly? Yeah, that's odd and cool. Yes. Okay, cool. I'm glad you understand. But yeah, the bigger your forge, the more burners that you're going to want to use. So like the really, really long ones that you temper swords with, they have like 4 or 5 or a bunch of ribbon burners in there, and it's just like a bunch of flames coming through like a bunch of little holes. But yeah, you're covering your cold spots. So, alrighty. Trying to shape this a little bit so that it's a little bit closer to the other one, and that we're kind of correcting a little bit of the lumps and bumps that we had when we were making this. Alright, so we want to kind of, so we've got a little dip in where the shelf is right there, but we've got a little bit of extra meat there. And the reason that we're doing that is so that we can actually shelf this downward so that the two jaws meet when you put them together. Yeah. I hope that, okay. So we have diagonally cut into this piece so that we can shove the tip of the jaws this way, so that when both of the pieces, or both of the tongs meet, the jaws will meet. Jeez, that was a little wordy. I will do that again in a few. Okay, so we have created this diagonal shelf at a diagonal angle, so that way, in another heat, we can hang the rest of, the jaws off of the side of the anvil and push the jaws closer towards where the center of the boss will be when we rivet the two sides together. And I think that made no sense, but maybe it did. So cool. I see it, yeah. I'm trying to say that, but so if you look at these tongs, you can see the jaws of the tongs are actually offset towards the center of the boss. So this side is going this direction. Well, if you flip it, that side is also going that direction. But if you look at it from this side, they're going in opposite directions. So they meet in the center. So I like to offset these central areas so that, because like if you look at these, you can see that these have actually been shoved. They're not straight. They've been shoved over so that the handles, the reins of the tongs also meet, because you want a nice straight set of tongs. So you can see the kind of, they're very similar in how they're created. So I think I've over-explained that enough. Maybe I'll try and explain it again, or I'll look up someone else explaining it, and we'll see if I can find a little easier way to understand it. I'm out of water. No more water for Red. All right. You did it fine. Okay. Yeah, it was a little bit wordy, and so I guess I'm just like thinking about how awful it's going to be editing that section of talk, or like of my speech, my script. So yeah. All right. We have reached 2.5 hours of streaming. We've got about 10 minutes until the next ad. Do you want to do about 15 minutes after the ad, or do you want to end before the ad, or how do you guys want to do? I don't want to like make you watch an ad and like not actually do anything after the ad, because I don't think that's fair. I don't want to end on an ad. So do you guys want to end here and pick up on with what we were doing with the bosses, or do we want to finish the bosses a little bit after the ad? I am a little bit concerned because my propane is it's starting to get a little bit weaker. I don't know if I have a good 20 minutes left before it freezes and I have to turn it off is my only issue. because it's not wavering yet, but I can hear it like, I can hear the sound that is that happens just before it starts puffing. So I'm gonna do another heat while you guys think about it. Yeah, we're on 2.5 hours using the propane tank. Up to you for me, but I don't get ads. Yeah. So it's really hard to go longer than 2.5 hours without swapping the propane tank. But yeah, I don't want to make you watch ads, like, you know, at the very end. Okay, now we are going to kind of offset the jaws. So we've got that new straight section going on. So we've got a line there and a line there, and they should open and close pretty easily. So now we've got a little bit of meat down in the center. So the next thing that we're actually going to do is we are going to come over to the hardy hole, and there's this little tiny section here of anvil that we're going to use. So we've got plenty of space in here for both of our shelves, and we'll be able to flatten that out. So we've got that nice thing going. Look at that. That's really nice. So the next heat, we're going to flatten that out just a little bit better. I'm not sure that you guys could see, but we're not getting as much heat anymore out of that forge. So we've got a nice little shelf going right there, but it's not quite as thin as I want it to be. We're really nice. We can, so we've actually got a pretty decent amount of similarity between both sides now, and we'll be able to go over top of the hardy hole and flatten that out where the rivet is going to sit. Is there an insulation blanket to prevent the tank from frosting? I don't know. I've never really looked up about it, or looked up anything about that problem. It's just normally something that like when it happens, I rotate 2 propane tanks. So when I'm working like really heavily, when I'm actually doing 8 hours of forging, or when I used to back when I did that, what I would do is I would buy propane tanks in 2s, right? So I have like 6 tanks, and for the stream I only exchange 1 tank at a time, but I used to do 2 tanks at a time. And what I would do is I would flip the 2, and so that I would always have a fresh tank to go. And it was really convenient, and I was able to forge for a full 8 hours if I needed to. So I really have never had that as an issue until I started streaming. So, yep. I can tell a bit, but I didn't make the connection. Yeah, the amount of heat that we're getting from the forge now, it's starting to be, you know, it's starting to lower because the pressure of the propane coming out of the tank is a lot lower. So the regulator, it's set for, I think is it 25 psi or is it 35 psi? I don't remember for sure. I'll have to look it up so that I can give you an actual number. Anyway, so it's a high pressure gauge for a propane heater or a smoker, and so it's a high pressure regulator. And as the tank starts freezing up, it lowers the pressure, and so you just don't get as much heat. So, yep, that's how it works. Alrighty. I think I can get one more heat out of this tank. Maybe 2 more heats. I think I might be able to get 2 more heats. I think I'm going to stretch through. I apologize if you guys end up, or if we end up ending on an ad. But yeah, I want to get as much work as possible done. I won't do any heats during an ad, but we'll see what we can do. Cool. Okay, cool. Yep, we're going to stretch this propane as far as it'll go, and then once it's dead, then I will raid off. Okay. So we've got a nice flat section there, and we'll be able to shove that over. We're almost done with that box because we've got about halfway. So the width here is about half of the width here, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm pretty happy with this guy, and we are going to cool him off, and then we're going to look at our other one, because the next step for this guy is going to be a little bit longer of a step, but the other guy has a much thicker section for the boss, so I think we're going to need 2 heats on that one. Okay, because we've got much more meat that we're trying to get through. Alright, and this is a lot louder, unfortunately. Okay, so I need to go back over to this section for this next heat, and push this further this way, because it looks like we aren't, we didn't get enough movement this way for that. It's not going to meet correctly. All right. So we've got about 15 seconds before the ad starts. And then, or not 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Well, now like 6 seconds. So I will wait the 1.5 minutes, and that's about the amount of time that it's going to take that guy to heat up. So we'll do one more heat after the ads. And then maybe I'll talk to you for like a couple minutes or a minute, and then we'll raid off. We got to figure out who we want to raid to, you know? If you've got any suggestions, let me know. Yeah. I'm always looking for new people to raid to. Sometimes Johnson is streaming. Sometimes some of the glass people are streaming. I really like watching Potters. other knife makers. But yeah. The ads are starting soon, it says. Let me... time. Just so I can get this tail end of this heat. Writing. Now please wait. Okay, there we go. And the ads are in progress. All right. I always come at the end. Ooh, we have glass. Nim's Bits always comes at the end. Yeah. I only get to stream for about 2.5 hours. Because that's about as long as I can really manage doing it. I'm starting to get a little bit better with my stamina. So hopefully, it would be nice to be able to stream a little bit longer. And, it would be... I think it's going to take me a little bit of time before I can actually stream beyond 2.5 hours because for budget reasons, because the longer I stream, the more propane I use. And yeah, I need I can only buy so much propane a week, unfortunately, for the moment. But I mean, once the stream starts to make me a little bit of money, when we get a little bit more support, we will definitely be able to stream for a little bit longer. I would like to make about, I'd like to be able to make enough money that we can buy, our propane tanks. That's my goal, is just to be able to afford to keep going with our propane tanks. So, yeah. Ping, thank you for the biddies. Thank you so much. But yeah, so once we get more followers and, more ad money and all that, I will look into increasing the amount of time that we can stream, or the amount of days that we can stream, maybe. We'll see what we can manage. All right. I've got one more heat. And then I will probably, yeah, because I'm starting to hear the puffs on the forge, so I need to shut it down and either, flip the propane or shut down. But I think since we're after 2.5 hours, I think we're gonna raid off. So if you guys got any, suggestions, you said that we have glass. So I will raid off probably to the glass blower. That is so much fun, glass blowing. I love it. All right, so we are working on offsetting our jaws. We're doing a pretty good job with that. We're going to need to offset that a little bit more on our next time, but I think, or we'll need to offset this more, but I think that we need to do that after we have the two pieces riveted together. That way we have a for sure amount of offset that we need to do. So we'll work on that. So on Friday, we're going to start by taking down all of the corners on the reins so that when we squeeze the two tongs together, it won't cut into our hands. These currently these really hard edges, they'll cut into your hand as you squeeze squeeze them. As you can see, this guy has like I squished off the corners on this one, so it's a lot more comfortable for my hand. So we're gonna start the stream on Wednesday. Wait, today's Wednesday. On Friday by doing that, and then we will start punching in the holes for the boss, so that we can rivet them together. So that is our goal. So put that over there. Turn that off because we're puffing. And here we go. Yep, another good progress day. Happy Lunar New Year. Ooh, is it Lunar New Year today? I never know the exact day of Lunar New Year. I know that the Chinese buffet that we go to has been celebrating Lunar New Year all month, but I never know the exact day of Lunar New Year. So, but yeah, thank you all for joining me, for, visiting the stream, for all of your questions, your comments, and your viewership. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful Thursday, and we will be back on Friday to keep going on those tongs. Oh, and thank you, Juju Rage Lifts, for the follow. Thank you so much. Oh man, my grandparents used to love a good Chinese buffet. Yes, I love Chinese buffet. The one around here has hibachi grill, so you can like load up on the food, send it to the hibachi, and then load up on the food in the in the buffet part. That's the best, the absolute best. All right, so we are going to raid somebody. Who are we gonna raid? Let's play with fire. Come say hi. Oh, Glassblower is here. Let's see. Glassblower has been streaming for about 2 hours, so let's see. And what are they up to? Looks like they are running a blowpipe. That's always a blast. All right, so let's raid them. Sound good, guys? All righty. Thank you all for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. Alrighty. And are things happening? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. We'll do that. There we go. I am no longer live. Or maybe I am live.